This week on the best boys basketball show in the Mitten, doesn't get any bigger than what went down in the city. We got highlights. As for Hanover Horton, dropping 70 plus on the regular. All that and a whole lot more. What time is it? Hang time. CHAMPS Hangtime is presented by Lawrence Technological University, where Blue Devils dare. Also brought to you in part by Hungry Howie's, famous for flavor. The Michigan High School Athletic Association, promoting the value and values of educational athletics. The U.S. Army, what's your warrior? The Basketball Coaches Association of Michigan, because better coaching always matters. Welcome back to another edition of the only show that once we get in the post, you better back up because we are going strong to the rack. Welcome to Hangtime, Michigan. I'm Lauren Plant, joined by TJ Kelly and Scott Bernstein. Whether it's Kelly killing it in the key or Bernie banging from the baseline, you guys ready to rock and roll?
All day long.
Let's rim run this thing and go slam dunk this episode.
Let's go. In our Hoop Talk this week, we are shouting out several high schoolers whose EFG percentage is climbing like cases of the coronavirus. Also, we give you our sleepers in every division as the state playoffs just around the corner. Plus, Oakland Christian head coach and AD Dennis Hopkins stops by to tell you the number one most concerning issue facing athletic directors today. Do you know what that is?
Adding games to the basketball
No, you're going to have to tune in. So much more, but let us show you, not just tell you. Here are this week's first batch of basketball highlights presented by our friends at the U.S. Army. Find your future at GoArmy.com.
I'm Zach Herrick from the West Michigan area. The annual Mayweather Classic at Ottawa Hills High School paired Kalamazoo Central against Oak Park. The Maroon Giants would lead 32-11 after a quarter of play, but the Knights would respond. Devontae Edwards going to score the two there. But back on the other end, K Central moving the ball. Scott Hughes to Muhammad Kamara for the triple. Maroon Giants back in front by 26. And minutes later in the third, Hughes to Trayvon Gunter, who finishes in the lane for two of his game-high 21 points. And then at the end of the third quarter, Oak Park cuts into the deficit. Just seconds left. Frederick Gatland gets the buzzer beater to go with the putback. That cuts the K Central lead to 14. And in the fourth, it's Hughes knocking down the triple to help seal the victory. Oak Park would make a late push, but Kalamazoo Central prevails 82-77 in the Mayweather Classic. And in the nightcap, a pair of one-loss teams, Grand Rapids Catholic Central taking on Benton Harbor and Butler signee Carlos Scooby Johnson. Early on, Jack Karazinski, the sophomore, shooting over Johnson, hitting the triple. He had a team-high 14 points for Catholic Central in this one. But back comes Johnson and the Tigers. Scooby, shot fake, step inside the arc, and knocks down the long two. Benton Harbor up by one at that point. And in the second half, Devin Boyd, not scared to go inside, drives in on Johnson and finishes. GRCC down just 8 at that point. But on the other end, too much Scooby Johnson. At the end of the third quarter, less than a second left off the inbounds. Johnson gets it off and gets it to go. The Tigers take a 10-point lead going into the fourth. And in the final few minutes, check out the fancy finish and the foul. Not sure how you stop that one. 28 points for him as Benton Harbor wins it 64-51. The Tigers improved to 14-1 on the season.
Guys, this is why we schedule games like this. We have nothing to lose tonight, guys. We just have to win the game. Let's go!
The 12-1 Clarkston Wolves facing a tough test at home against 9-3 Detroit Edison, and the Pioneers give the Wolves all they can handle right from the start. Bryce George driving and scoring over the 7-footer Matt Nicholson. The Northwestern commit has an answer though. Fletcher Lawyer setting him up for the two-handed flush, putting Clarkston up by one at the end of the first. The Wolves push the lead up to 5 in the second. Mike DePillo getting the basket plus the foul. But Edison keeps it close. Vincent Cooley finding Jalen Flanagan on the backdoor cut, cutting the Clarkston lead to 25-23 at halftime. The Pioneers then take the lead in the third. Calvin Thompson Marshall drills a triple. Then it's Vincent Cooley with the baseline jumper, putting Edison up by 3 going into the 4th. That is when Fletcher Lawyer takes over. The sophomore gets the Wolves started with the 3 from the top of the key. He then hits another from the same spot, sparking an 11-0 run, putting Clarkston in charge. And how about 3 more from Lawyer, getting 2 and 1. He scored 15 in the 4th, 24 in the game, while the big man, Nicholson, added 20. Clarkston pulls away in the 4th to win its 11th straight, 63-56.
I felt like I needed to hit some shots. I needed to do my team what I do, shoot the ball, and I felt like I did that. They happened to go in, and my teammates trust me. They gave me the ball and let me do my thing.
We just had to talk as a team about getting on the same page, about coming together, about making plays, and we did. Fletch happened to make some really big shots. He got hot, he got going there, and that carried us, through the 4th quarter. And our kids did a good job handling the pressure in the 4th quarter.
I'm Lauren Plant. We go down to Cass Tech, site of this year's Detroit Public School League semifinals. In our current state champs top 25 rankings, we've got the Detroit Douglas Hurricanes ranked 17th in the state. They were matched up with our 12th ranked squad, the Detroit King Crusaders. This grudge match, a rematch from a January 17 game in which King pulled out a 9-point win. The junior D1 recruit Omar Ziegler, fine finish, the step back sizzler. But the Canes have a crusher of their own, also a junior, Pierre Brooks, with offers from Michigan, Michigan State, Butler, and more, putting them on skates. Douglas down 2 after 1. Both teams mounting their stand in the 2nd quarter. Block City for the junior, Shane Carter. First, the swatting to the cheap seats. Next possession, how about an encore? This time, gets a piece of Brooks' shot. Teammates make sure he gets rewarded on the other end with the bucket. But then, the Douglas Hurricane hit landfall. We went from a Cat 1 to a Cat 5 in a matter of minutes. Xavier McClendon at 22 in the contest, the senior with the splashdown from downtown. Canes led 24-19 at the break. Hurricanes continue to do damage. Donovan Peoples, the 6'4 lefty, don't sleep. He finished the night with 10 points. Douglas up 14 after 3. Crusaders trying to climb back in it. John Hogue left alone for the long gun. But Pierre Brooks the second, 24 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, game, set, match. Hurricanes win this big, 76-48. The other semifinal pushed to Wednesday, so Douglas would face either Cass Tech or CMA for city bragging rights.
How you doing? My name is First Class Adams.
Hey, what's up, Detroit? I'm Staff Sergeant Stevens. If you're within the age of 17 to 34, if you look for a job without any experience, we can teach you everything you need to know. Come be a part of the team.
And where you can locate us at is on goarmy.com/Michigan.
And our phone number is 586-774-0218 or 517-214-8542.
Go Army.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, first off, we had to film this segment before the PSL semis, so now that you know who will be competing in the finals, we do not know yet. However, we'll get into all of it next week. That is a promise. Okay, we had several guys who were PT peers over the last several weeks, and probably none more than the sophomore out at Mount Clemens sets a new single game scoring record.
Javon Hanna, a license to thrill. This kid is a finisher in every way possible. Just a kid that knows how to score the basketball. It's very crafty, and I'm not surprised that he put up a 60 ball. I knew it was going to happen. I knew he was going to be hitting those big numbers, and there's only going to be more of that to come these next couple of years. Obviously, Amani Bates, the phenom, is the one everyone talks about in the class of 2022. Ty Rodgers maybe right beneath him, but Javon Hanna can stack up against any sophomore probably in the entire country.
And he's with Bates fundamentals in the summer.
During the spring and summer. One thing that I really like that Coach Pete Trammell has done as head coach of the Bathers is, he's given Hannah the okay to go ahead and do that. And when you have a confidence,
The keys of the
when you build confidence in your players, it just makes your jumpers go that much smoother. You're out there finishing. People know what he can do, and he knows what he can do. And so, 60 points. It's one of those things. Well, we'll see if he can break that record. With 2 more years to go in his high school career.
All right, well, let's go to Houghton then. It was a loss to Ishpeming, but a monumental effort, 63 for Brad Simonson.
That's huge. I mean, the game went into overtime. They wound up losing. But at the same time, you talk about 63 points. I mean, that's one up there with some Greg Grays, and I mean, that's elite company. And he's going to Michigan Tech. The Huskies are going to be extremely proud to have him. But you just don't see those kind of numbers, especially from the Upper Peninsula. Thought it might be Foster Wonders if was going to do that. But hey, congratulations to Brad.
A lot of good basketball being played up in the UP right now. Obviously, Foster Wonders, Marcus Johnson, Team Bucky over at Iron Mountain. But you can't look past a guy that can drop a 60 bomb like that. I mean,
and we had a 50-point performance recently.
Yeah, Joey basketball over at Erie Mason. Joe Lydell, University of Detroit commit, scored 51. Yep. Broke the school record that had been set back in the early 1970s.
Back in the 1970s. What was the number one song in 1971?
Casey Kasem.
Beatles weren't even.
Casey Kasem over here.
Exactly.
I think George Harrison's
Love will bring us together.
We've had a lot of 24-karat performances over these last a couple weeks.
Yeah, tons of 40-point guys.
A lot of 40-point games. Tyson Acuff followed a 40-point game up before the break with a 38-point game out in a showcase last week. Jaden Akins had 42 against Oxford at the end of January. Ryan Rollins went for a 40 ball last week.
Yep.
And he also went over the 1,000-point.
Yeah, and Surreal Smith.
Yeah.
Surreal Smith, 42.
One of the top unsigned
from the set
guards from second. Yes.
We'll be seeing them this week. All right, that wraps up our first discussion. Bernie and TJ will be back later to tell you who they have pegged as sleepers, plus me, in every division. Plus, we'll take a look at the week ahead. What's up, Puckhead? Sean and John here. Don't forget, you can check out Hockey Times. Every week, we are going to be talking about what's going on in the great state of Michigan at the high school level. So much good hockey being played, and we're going to do our best to cover it from all vantage points in the great state of Michigan. New episodes drop every Wednesday right around 3 o'clock.
Hey, State Champs Nation, Jenna Skalski here, and I'm here to tell you to check out the State Champs Michigan Winter Roundup premiering every Friday at 5 p.m. all winter long. The Roundup is where you can find highlights in girls basketball, boys swimming, competitive cheer, wrestling, bowling, and gymnastics. Presented by Lawrence Tech, check out the State Champs Michigan Winter Roundup premiering Fridays at 5 p.m. on the State Champs Sports Network and the State Champs app.
Hey guys, welcome back inside the State Champs Sports Network studios for this week's edition of Fast Break here on Hangtime, Michigan. And of course, Fast Break is sponsored by the Basketball Coaches Association of Michigan. Joining me today, we welcome Dennis Hopkins. He's the athletic director, boys basketball coach at Oakland Christian, also the assistant executive director at BCAM, the BCAM Clinic co-chairman. So he's got a lot of insight from both inside BCAM and, of course, on the street, being the athletic director and the basketball coach, and you've done it for a long time. We talked about on the Winter Roundup, which you can watch, what BCAM is doing to help develop young coaches. It's a real issue with making sure that we bring these guys along. The other is the number one most concerning issue high school athletic directors are facing today is what? And I'm sure this is nuanced, but
I'm sure there's different things depending on who you talk to, but one of the biggest issues I'm dealing with as an athletic director is finding qualified coaches. There are less people going into coaching, and I think there's many factors that are tying into that, but it is a difficulty trying to find coaches, especially when you're trying to fill all of your teams that you have. The coaching pool is not as large as it used to be.
We are about a decade removed now from the seasons of change, the switch when girls basketball became a winter sport, volleyball fell back to the fall, and we had a number of coaches who were able to do both when girls basketball was in the fall and boys were in the winter. And I guess I'm curious to what you would say is the effects, now that we're a decade beyond that, are you noticing, that being a real issue because those guys cannot do both? You did both, but that's extremely hard to do.
Yes, last year I had the opportunity to coach both the girls and the boys at Oakland Christian, and it was a difficult task. The difficult task being that you're preparing. If you're doing it correctly, you're going to prepare for practice. You're going to prepare for opponent. Before the seasons changed, you would see that where guys and gals would do both, and the quality of coaching was pretty good there with those coaches that were doing it.
What do you think is the reason behind the fact that not as many individuals are getting into coaching as they've done in the past?
You have the concerns of dealing with parents that have high expectations, and then just the stressors of all that. The pressure to win and lose, unfortunately, is a big stressor. At the high school level, you're trying to win, but at the end of the day, as an athletic director, I want coaches that have a knowledge of the game, they're willing to invest in the lives of my student athletes in the right way, and are willing to grow their knowledge of the game at the same time. And I think if we can give them a great environment for that, then they can learn to develop.
Well, finally, if you can, because we're all about solutions here, what are some things that BCAM can do to help alleviate this issue?
Well, I think some of the things that we are trying to put in play, we've got that guide to the first year coach. It's really for young coaches, but new coaches. Getting ADs to kind of get that in front of their coaches so they have some different things that they make sure that they're aware of before they really get too deep. Athletic directors providing their coaches the ability to get to clinics like the one that BCAM offers, but also we're looking at a pilot program in May to try and help younger coaches, getting tools in front of them that help them develop their game, but not just the X and O's part of it, the administrator side. The MHSAA does offer some CAP programs, that quality programs, been through those myself. They help with those non-X and O's things and how to communicate and make sure you're doing it in the right way so that people aren't confused. And the less people are confused, the more you're all on the same page.
Absolutely, and it's about supporting the coaches, from the parents to the administration to the community. That's how we keep guys in it, keep them engaged, and keep them helping to mentor our kids. All right, so we want to thank Dennis Hopkins for being here. Check out the conversation on the Winter Roundup, and this has been another edition of Fast Break. Hey guys, this message is for those of you who just might consider nursing as a career. Nursing School's Almanac ranks more than 3,000 nursing programs nationwide, and in only its third year, Lawrence Technological University's Bachelor of Science in Nursing program has been ranked in the top third of Michigan nursing education programs, even before the program has graduated its first students. Lawrence Tech began accepting students into its BSN program in August 2017. The program is a partnership with the healthcare nonprofit Ascension Michigan and its 6 hospitals in Southeast Michigan. The first students will graduate its first nurses in May 2021. The program combines hospital-based clinical rotations, skills laboratories, and a focus on combining nursing theory with practice. The partnership also offers job placement opportunities, since Ascension Michigan is focused on keeping nurses in state and helping them advance their careers. Check it all out at ltu.edu.
I admit it. I love working with money, negotiating, and making big decisions. That's why I'm majoring in finance and economics at Lawrence Tech. What's truly amazing about the education here is the small class sizes that give me easy access to my professors who truly care about my future. They even helped me get a great internship. And I was able to fulfill my lifelong dream of playing college golf. Lawrence Tech, where Blue Devils dare.
We're getting reports that you have over 40,000 flavor combinations.
That's right.
May I examine one, ma'am? Is this real cheese?
100% real mozzarella, officer.
Explain this dough.
Made fresh daily.
I'm gonna have to confiscate this as evidence.
Aren't you a mall cop?
All units, someone's in the fountain.
10-4, Tiger on the prowl.
Treat yourself to the world's first stuffed flavored crust pizza. And now for just $6.99, try our new stuffed Howie bread.
Hungry?
Howie!
Lauren Plant back here, and I'm calling out all League of Legends players. That's right, esports, to get your school signed up for this year's 4th annual league and tournament. Did you know that there has already been nearly $1 million given out in scholarship money by Lawrence Tech to not just the winning team of the tourney, but the runners-up too? Get 5 guys from your school. Regular season starts in February, playoffs in April, championship finale in May at Lawrence Tech in Southfield, Michigan. Sign up right now at statechampsesports.net. Oh yeah, the league is free. We're accepting teams from Indiana and Michigan. It's epic. Be a part of it. For all information, including sign up, go to statechampsesports.net and do it right now. Registration will end very soon.
I'm Ryan Slocum. The second-ranked overall team in Michigan, Beecher, put its 14-game winning streak on the line at Weberville. The Spartans couldn't have asked for a better start. Nathan Walker hits the runner off glass, putting the home team up a bucket in the first. Beecher turns up the pressure. Keon Menefield with the steal. He throws it up for Ernest Sanders, who throws it down. Weberville responds. Oscar Fuller in the corner for 3. Nothing but the bottom, and the Spartan center is lit. But Menefield would quiet the crowd. He was all over the place. The junior had a triple-double, 14 points, 12 dimes, and 11 steals. But Bucktown would then go silent as Jalen Terry rolls the same left ankle that has already cost him a number of games this season. He would not return, and that injury could play a huge factor in the Mr. Basketball race. And with the Oregon commit on the bench, the Spartans make a run in the third. The sophomore Nathan Lott and 1. Talon Muldrew logging extra minutes with JT down, and he took advantage of it, pulling an Arby's, going 5 for 5 for 12 points. Beecher up 20, and Carmelo Harris puts on the finishing touches in the fourth. Melo hit 4 for 5 from downtown for a game-high 18 points, leading Beecher to its 15th straight win, 87-65.
Big game in the Little Dipper between Joseph Kimmer and the Hale Eagles going up against Lucas Stone and the Posen Vikings. First quarter, Ian Hinska working hard in the paint and is going to finish with the layup here. Nice job by the senior. Moments later, Hinska drives into the paint, takes his time, and he's going to lay it up and in. Vikings up 6 after 1. Back comes Hale. Joel Bovee is going to take his pass line up in the corner and knock down this triple here. He's well known for hitting from downtown, but back comes Posen. Lucas Stone drives in, fakes out Joseph Kimmer, and yeah, that's an easy bucket. Vikings down 23-20 at the half. Third quarter, Joseph Kimmer drives in, throws it up a little floater. That's good. 14 points on the night for the senior. Moments later, Kimmer in transition. Nice pass here to David Wanty. Good teamwork there. Not only Wanty can finish inside, but he'll knock down the triple as well, just like this one from the corner. He finished with 11 points on the night, but the Vikings deliver when it's needed most. Down 1, Lucas Stone pulls up for a long 2-pointer. That won't go, but Wyatt Romo taps it up and in. Vikings up 1 with less than a few seconds to go. That was 1 shot away. Kimmer for the win. No. What a thriller in Posen. Vikings defeat the Eagles by a score of 47-46.
I'm Greg Molson checking in from the Central Michigan Athletic Conference. Langsburg going for the 2-game season sweep over the defending Division III state champs, Pewamo, Westphalia. But the Pirates come out with plenty of motivation, looking to avenge their only loss of the season back in December, and they waste no time taking charge, opening the game with back-to-back triples. Aaron Bierce with the second. That was a sign of things to come. PW also coming out strong on defense. Nathan Martin with the steal and the assist, getting it to Brock Thielen to make it 12-0 right out of the gate. It took 6 minutes, but the Wolfpack finally get on the board on the runner from Gabe Hawes, off the glass and in. But they could not get back into it because they could not stop Aaron Bierce. He was hitting threes from all over the court, from the left wing, then from the right corner, and how about one more from the right wing? He outscored the Wolfpack all by himself in the first half, 18-12. The Pirates led it by 21 at the break. Langsburg looking for a spark. Aiden Soltner opens the second half with a triple, but the Wolfpack could not match Beers, who continues to light it up, cutting to the basket for a two-pointer here. He also had plenty of threes still to come. The only returning starter from last year's state championship team, he led the Pirates with 32 points, with 24 of those coming on 8 three-pointers, and he wasn't selfish, even dishing out some assists, setting up Keegan Smith. Pewamo Westphalia avenges its only loss of the season, winning its 11th straight, 54-36.
We knew this was big on our list after we lost them the first time. Then we knew this was play a big role in the league, so we had to come out and play good defense and try to get a win.
We lost over there in a close ball game early in the season, and these kids really get up. They can really play, and you can see it tonight.
Hanover Horton taking the court at home, looking to win its 9th straight. The Comets facing a tough test against the 10-4 Gators of Arbor Prep. And we start with the two teams trading baskets in the first quarter. Maurice Anderson pulls up for the Gators and hits nothing but net. At the other end, Luke Laquetta answers with a triple for the Comets. It was 12-12 after the first 8 minutes. Hanover Horton starting to build a lead in the second. Mitch Sauber with the pass ahead to Jack Brokey to put him up by 6. Arbor Prep keeping it close though. Anderson hits for 2 more of his 18 points, beating the buzzer to cut the lead to just 3 at halftime. The Gators then open the second half, going inside to Omari Bird for the basket and 1. That cut the lead to just 1. But the Comets then go streaking. Brocky hitting a 3 from the wing. Then it's Brocky with an assist, getting it ahead to Laquetta for the fake and a score. And check out the senior point guard Mitch Sauber getting it done at both ends of the floor, starting with the steal on defense. He takes it down court, driving for the basket and the foul, capping off a 14-0 run. Hanover Horton outscores Arbor Prep 32-7 in the third quarter, and the Comets go on to win it 79-49. Luke Laquetta leading a balanced attack with 24 points. They improve to 11-1 with their 9th straight win.
We started to knock down shots for the first time all year. So, that's what we want to play like every time. We didn't turn it over, and we were playing together.
Definitely a balanced team, and that's what makes these guys so good is you can't just key on 1 or 2 guys. There's literally, 6, 7 guys that can go out there and put up double digits any night. So, and then they're so unselfish. They share the ball, they're team first. So that was a real good win.
February is Black History Month, and this week State Champs salutes one of the greatest basketball players of all time, Irvin Magic Johnson. Born in Lansing in 1959, Johnson was first dubbed Magic as a 15-year-old sophomore playing for Everett High School when he recorded a triple-double, 36 points, 18 rebounds, and 16 assists. After the game, a sports writer for the Lansing State Journal gave him the nickname. Johnson led Everett to an overtime victory in the state championship. Johnson had 2 All-State selections, considered at the time to be the best high school player ever to come out of Michigan. Magic was also named to the 1977 McDonald's All-American team. At Michigan State, he led the Spartans to the 1979 National Championship, defeating Larry Bird's Indiana State in the most-watched college basketball game of all time. In the NBA, Bird and Johnson were the central figures of the Celtics-Lakers rivalry in the 1980s, a matchup often credited with saving the NBA. For his career, Johnson won 5 NBA titles, made 12 All-Star teams, and won 3 NBA MVPs and Finals MVPs. He was inducted into the Hall of Fame in 2002. State Champs salutes Irvin Magic Johnson.
On the carry, number 9.
My dad and my grandfather are officials. I've grown up around officials and seeing how much they enjoy being part of the games. As a student athlete, I've always appreciated the people out there who are willing to give back to the kids. The Legacy program lets me officiate while I'm still in high school, working younger kids' games. Officiating gives me a better understanding of the game. I get to make some pretty good money for a high school kid, and I even get to spend some quality time with my dad. There's help wanted. Just whistle.
It's time now for the MHSAA Basketball Clip of the Week, and it goes to Pierre Brooks Jr. from Detroit Douglas High School. Here with a two-handed throwdown jam against King in the PSL Finals, and that's your MHSAA Basketball Clip of the Week.
All right, let's get into our sleepers for the upcoming state playoffs. We are going to talk each division. Let's work our way from Division 4 to Division 1. Let's start with Division 4. TJ, your D4 sleeper.
I think it's about time for Mike Keeler to get back involved in the mix. Wyoming Tri-Unity Christian isn't a team that, let's say maybe this generation isn't familiar with. But he's got 3 state titles from back in the 2000s. I think Brady Titus.
Brian Foltice era.
Yes. Brady Titus is a sophomore, really controls the tempo. And in small school basketball, you have to be able to do that because you're going to face a lot of games. You have to be able to win low-scoring games, and then you also have to be able to push the tempo and be able to score with some of the higher-scoring teams like a Southfield Christian.
Triangle lost by a single digit to Frankfurt in the semis last year. Scott, who's your D4?
I'm going to be a little redundant. This was my sleeper in Division 4 last year, but I'm going back with them. Novi Christian. Okay. I think they have a chance to upset Southfield Christian in the districts. I would still pick Southfield Christian to have a chance to three-peat.
Yeah, we're talking about sleepers.
But if anyone can do it, it's Novi Christian. You got a former state champion on the bench in Roosevelt Barnes, took Bishop Borges to a title back in the 90s. Then you got the Blackwell brothers. Very dangerous, dynamic players. One's a senior, one's a freshman.
All right, I'm taking Dollar Bay.
Nice.
They are undefeated. Nobody's really talking about them. Also got to the semis last year. They are not in your small school rankings either.
Not yet.
So that's who I'm taking. All right, TJ, Division 3.
If Detroit Loyola can get by DEPSA, I think that they could do some things. Mark Montgomery is an outstanding point guard, the younger brother of Keith Appling. Just does a great job of again controlling the tempo. You look at a guy like Dennis Morey, the head coach there from Loyola. He was at University of Detroit Jesuit, and so he does have that experience under Pat Donnelly.
Loyola fell in the regional finals a year ago. Such a stacked division, though. We're talking to E3. Scott, what say you?
I'm going to go with Maple City Glen Lake. They're not ranked right now, even though they're 10-2. They made the Final Four 2 years ago. Last year didn't make it out of regionals, I don't believe. Yeah. But they got Reese Hazelton, one of the best players in Division 3, just a cold-blooded customer, a primetime playmaker. In fact, I will go and say more than a sleeper. I expect them to be at Breslin.
Okay, all right. I've got Schoolcraft, undefeated still. They also lost in the regional finals last year. Again, can go a million miles away if we get some early upsets. Division 2, TJ, who might we be sleeping on that might do some damage?
Man, I really like Williamston. They lost earlier on in the season to East Lansing. I think that they've recovered from that. Obviously put together a double-digit win streak since then. I'm
going to guess yours, Ferndale.
Yeah, I said it last week. The best team in the state that's under 500 right now. They lost again since we had this conversation last week. Lost in overtime to North.
It's an insane schedule.
They play a really difficult schedule. They got an amazing front court. We talked about it last week. Colin Golson, Jay Sean Moore, Trey Lewis.
All right, I'll say Oak Park. Tons of D1 teams also on their schedule. Record doesn't look good, but they beat Belleville, lost to Country Day, and West Bloomfield by just a bucket. They've got Ferndale Tuesday. I'll be filming that one myself. Finally, we got to fly through this. So Division 1, who's your sleeper?
Grand Blanc. They started off hot to start off the year. Had a couple of ups and downs. I think the addition with Kevin David Rice is huge because it just gives them that much more scoring off the wing. And then you also look at R.J. Taylor, the point guard. Let's control that tempo, and they've got enough weapons. Don't forget Mike Thomas is also.
And Williams in the post.
Quickly.
I'm going to go with either North Farmington or Brother Rice coming out of that district at Farmington. It's going to be one of the most hotly contested districts in Metro Detroit. I think North Farmington's got a lot of balance. When you go over to Brother Rice, they got those great freshmen, Curtis Williams and Xavier Thomas, and then John Brantley going to Lafayette. So I think either one of those two teams can make a long run in the tournament.
All right, my D1 sleeper, Ypsilanti Lincoln. No. I have two really just like you, Ann Arbor Skyline and Howell. Incredible run by Howell a year ago before losing to Ypsi Lincoln in the semifinals. I like the way they play. Skyline was 9-5 coming in this week, but again, they have ballers on that team. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for watching. Be sure to download the brand new State Champs app. It's available on the Google Store and on the Apple Store. We need you to do this, so hook it up. Please, we spent a lot of money on it. Thank you, and we hope to see you at tip-off. Happy Valentine's Day to you and yours.
State Champs Hangtime is presented by
Lawrence Technological University, where Blue Devils dare. Also brought to you in part by Hungry Howie's, famous for flavor. The Michigan High School Athletic Association, promoting the value and values of educational athletics. The U.S. Army, what's your warrior? The Basketball Coaches Association of Michigan, because better coaching always matters.